I want to learn how to chant, but I just don't have the voice for it. So somebody left this comment on one of my videos, and I thought I would address it. So the last video was about people who say they want to chant, but they do not have time. So I just want to start this series where I go over every excuse that people make for why they cannot learn how to chant. So let's address this one of I want to chant, but I just don't. Either I'm tone deaf or my voice I just don't have the voice for it. So let's talk about that. So the problem is you're viewing chanting and using your voice as if it's some sort of mysterious sort of skill that you have to be born with, some sort of talent. When in reality, it's a lot more like learning to play an instrument, learning to play a new sport, learning a new language, and building muscle in the gym, lifting weights. So why do you think of it as this sort of mysterious thing that you have to be born with, this sort of talent? Are some people born with talent? Yeah, they are. Some people are born with muscle building genetics more so than others. But the person without the muscle building genetics can still build muscle, but the guy with the genetics, he kind of just has it more effortlessly. But either way, both people can obtain it. It's very important. And the truth is, Orthodox Christianity, as most of you know, it's really growing in the United States and across the world. So learning to chant, it's no longer this sort of special calling for only those who are talented. The situation is very much changing, because think about it. We have more parishes across the world, across the US, more services, and we need chanters in order to actually have our services. We need to have the traditional Byzantine chanting. So if you are an Orthodox Christian, it's almost becoming, I would say, an obligation, a service to the church to at least give it a try, to at least learn how to chant it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's no longer this thing where only those who are really, really good can go up there and give it a try. We're at the point where everybody should be giving it a try. There's no excuse not to try. Imagine God asks you, when Orthodoxy was growing, what did you do? What did you do to help? Did you just do nothing? Did you just make excuses? We're at the point where everybody needs to at least give it a try. So, as we can see with these people who say that I just can't, I want to learn, but I just can't do it. Like my voice, I just don't have the voice. The problem is not your voice, it's your mindset, it's the way you're thinking. The fact that you have already kind of mentally decided that you can't do it, that's what's keeping you from doing it. Not the fact that you might not be perfect, you might have some limitations. Because the person that tries out a new sport and is bad at it, if they don't let that stop them, if they don't let that hindrance or that sort of lack of being good at it keep them from progressing, then they're going to keep going and they're going to become really good at it. Same thing with a person who goes to the gym and is small or whatever, and they can't bench press a certain amount. As long as they're willing to keep going to the gym and keep increasing the weights and whatever, they're going to become really good. So you not being where you want to be as a chanter, it's not because of some sort of, I was just not born with the ability. It's because you have kind of mentally decided, I can't do it. So the number one thing first is to fix your mindset, fix the way you think about it. And I want you to do that by, instead of thinking about chanting as this sort of, like I said, this sort of talent that just some people just have, you need to think of it as a skill. You need to think of it as learning a new sport, learning to play an instrument. And I'm going to get into the exact details of how this works. But before we do that, are you interested in me guiding you through the process of learning how to chant? Because I've been there. I've been not very good. I've had a voice that was not good. For those who know me, I was born, I was very sick when I was born. I was actually like in the ICU for a long time. And so I was on oxygen, I had all these issues. So that already led to a sort of, I guess you could call a weak voice. I was not the type of person to play sports and to run in school and do all this, like, I guess, running and stuff that other kids would do. Like, I couldn't do it because I didn't have the strength, the breath capacity. On top of that, I had acid reflux. Watch my video on acid reflux, and I talk about how I fixed it. Literally, acid reflux, stomach acid, coming up and burning, not just up here, but actually going up to my vocal cords and burning my vocal cords. I'll get up in the morning to try to chant, and my vocal cords were literally inflamed. What did I do? I kept going, I kept trying, I strengthened my breathing, and now I've cured the acid reflux. So there's really no excuse. But since I went through all of this, I can help you, and you can basically go through this process much faster, because instead of going through on your own and making all the mistakes that I made and learning from it, you can just learn from my mistakes and avoid those mistakes in the first place, and the whole process will just go a lot faster. Like, I wish I had something like this when I was learning, just videos like this that explain some of this stuff. But anyway, let's talk about this process of learning when you might not be very good yet. So, first of all, people have this sort of, someone's going to say, oh, other people can learn, but I can't. My voice just can't do it. Okay, do you have a severe disability? I don't even want to say disability, because I'm gonna talk about it in a second. But who's that guy, RFK or something, where he literally has a problem with his vocal cords? Like RFK, like if you're watching, maybe you cannot chant, maybe you have an issue, maybe you need to get that problem fixed. But if you're not RFK, if you're not that guy that has the vocal cord damage and you can talk, right? You can talk like a normal person, and you can learn how to chant. And it's interesting when we talk about disability, because I saw on TikTok, I saw this guy who had a disability. I think he had like this sort of cleft, I think you call it a cleft palate. I may be mistaken, but he had a deformity. He had a problem with his mouth, basically. But what was he doing? He was up there, he was chanting in church and doing a great job. And he sounded great. How many of you, if you had his condition, literally a deformity with his mouth, like his mouth couldn't close all the way, basically a cleft palate, I think. How many of you would let that stop you from learning how to chant? It didn't stop him. He was actually amazing, doing a great job. So that just goes to show that anybody can do it. And think of, I don't want to say losing to these people, but they're willing to put in the work, they're willing to try, and you're not, right? Like, they're outperforming you, they're outdoing you, even with their disadvantages, right? So think about that. So, when people say, I just don't have the voice to chant, what are we talking about when we talk about the voice? The vocal talent? Is it just some magical thing that you're just born with and you either have it or you don't? What is the voice? So when we talk about the singing voice, we're talking about basically a few different things. First of all is the proper coordination, because singing and using your voice, a lot of it is just coordination. What do I mean by that? We have various muscles. When you talk about the voice, we have various muscles that we need to work together in harmony, right? So similar to it, I want you to think of this as learning a sport or learning dancing, like think of some complicated dancing like ballet or whatever, gymnastics. It's very similar because it's coordination. What is coordination? We're trying to get various muscles to cooperate and to work together effectively. Now, it's a little trickier with singing because we can't see the muscles, but it's the same concept. You can still learn it if you watch my videos, if you listen to the things I say, because I've taught myself, I've learned it, so you can learn it as well if you follow kind of my advice. But as far as coordination, we want to have we have various muscles. We have everything up here: the throat muscles, the jaw, the tongue, the soft palate, the hard palate, the pharynx, the larynx. We have also the breathing muscles down here, the diaphragm, the abdomen, all this stuff. And we just want a talented voice is basically all of these things working together in the right way, being coordinated. And it's just something that you learn. Are some people born with that ability? Yeah, sure. But for the rest of us, we just learn it the same way we learn a sport. We learn how to dance or whatever. So some videos you can get started if you want to kind of get started with this. I made a video called, the first video is the parts of the body used in singing. I would watch that video where I just talk about the parts of the body used in singing, where I just describe kind of what I just talked about. And then I also made a video about what does it mean to sing with an open throat, which kind of covers these muscles around this area. Definitely watch that as well. Okay, so the second part to what we would call the voice is strengthening various parts of these muscles. And I want you to think of this exactly like building muscle in the gym. The only difference is we're not going to get hypertrophy and push the muscle to its limit until it's fatigued and it creates until it's like damaged and torn, and then we let it repair itself like we do in the gym. It's not quite the same way, but you're still going to use it. Think of it like, I don't know, strength training. You're going to use these muscles and you're going to strengthen them. So that's the breathing muscles. So you have intercostal muscles right here. We have our breathing muscles. We have just our basic inhalation and the ability of our body to basically suck the breath deep into our lower body instead of it being right here like this sort of shallow breathing. And again, I made a video about this, or one video you can watch. Definitely watch the parts of the body used in singing video where I cover the breathing aspect. And then I also made a video, I think, called Strengthening the Intercostal Muscles, where I speak about this. So part of learning to chant and learning to use your voice is just strengthening these muscles that we use in our voice. Primarily, we're talking about the breathing muscles. And again, anybody can do this. Think of it like strength training in the gym, except we're not going to exhaust the muscles. We're just going to use them and train them and strengthen them. Next is ear training. And I've had people tell me that they're like tone deaf. And real tone deafness is like a very rare condition that you probably do not have. What you have is probably you're just not familiar with music. You're new to music in general, and your ear is just not trained. So it's the same. I want you to think of this as learning a new language. Are there people who just can't learn a new language? Are there people who just can't do it? I don't think so. I think anybody can learn a new language if they put in the work. Nobody says, "Oh, I'm just Greek deaf. Like I can't learn Greek. I just can't do it." If someone wants to learn Greek, they just familiarize themselves with the Greek language and they end up learning. Your ear is basically the same. So, where can you start? This is an easy one. Just listen to chanting. Just find a YouTube channel. I say this all the time. Find a YouTube channel a chanter that you trust, that you look up to. Listen to their recordings. I have plenty of recordings on my channel where I put the notation up there. I have Greek and English. Just listen to it. This is easy. You can do it while you eat, while you're in driving or whatever. You don't even need to give it your full 100% attention. Just have it playing in the background and absorb it. And if you actually think you're tone deaf, here's my challenge to you. Listen to 50 hours over the course of a few weeks, not all at once, but just listen to 50 hours, 50 hours of chanting. And then we will talk about if you're actually tone deaf. And I bet that you're not actually tone deaf. You just haven't trained your ear. You're just not familiar with this type of music or music in general. So you'll have trouble with pitch and notes and carrying a note or whatever. So you're not tone deaf. You just need to expose yourself to music, specifically to chanting. And then the second part, or third part or whatever, to your voice is just taking care of your body. So if you smoke like a pack of cigarettes every day and you're like, oh, my voice is not working, well, maybe stop smoking. Maybe that's why. Similarly, if you drink a bunch of alcohol, if you have acid reflux, if you think you might have acid reflux, even if you have any vocal issue, any issue with your voice, watch my video on acid reflux. You might have LPR acid reflux without even realizing it. So, but just in general, take care of your body. Don't make sure you get enough sleep. Don't inhale, dirt or dust. Protect your voice. Take care of your body. Like, don't do drugs, obviously, and take care of your voice in general. So, if you've watched to the end of this video, you can see that having a nice voice and training your voice is not some sort of magical thing that just happens to some people. It's something that everyone can train themselves to do. And let me point out this. I know people who, frankly, not to be rude, they don't sound very good. But they still go up there and they chant every Sunday, even though they don't sound that good. But what are they doing? They're not giving up, and they keep trying, right? Because they've decided, no, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to keep trying. Hopefully they keep trying, and I'm going to keep improving, and they make improvements. So if they're doing it, and like I said, we have a need for chanters. If there are people who go up there and they say, no, I'm going to chant, I'm going to serve the church, even if they're even not perfect, right? Then why are you saying, oh, I can't do it, I wouldn't be good at it? There are plenty of people who are not good at it, and they still go up there, so you shouldn't be afraid. It's not like everyone who is up there at the chanter stand is a professional. It's definitely not the case. So, if you listen to what I have said and go through all the steps I have mentioned as far as training your voice, of course, It takes patience, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. But don't say you don't have time. Watch my other video about I don't have time to chant. Yes, you do have time. But if you do this stuff, your voice will improve. Your ear will improve, I promise. And like I said, you do need to be patient. You do need to be persistent and not give up, because sometimes here's how things work with success in general. You may work on it for a long time and not see any progress. You might do all the right things and not see any progress. And you might think, oh, I'm not making any progress, because you think, oh, it's supposed to be linear. I'm supposed to slowly make this amount of progress over time. Whereas that's not always how it works. Sometimes you just work on it nonstop and you see no progress. And you keep working and you keep working a little bit more, and then boom, all of a sudden you make this huge progress. That's a lot of times that's how it happens. And you just have to keep going. You have to not quit. You have to be willing to maybe change the way you're doing things a little bit. And as long as you don't give up, you are going to make progress. It's going to be impossible not to make progress. So I hope this is helpful, and no matter what your situation is, for 99% of people, you can train your voice, you can learn to chant. God bless you.